So welcome to our town hall. We have a jam-packed hour because we want to keep it in an hour, yet we want to give you as much value as we humanly possibly can. So we've got a lot of great stuff. We've got some great stuff from May Camp that people are going to be sharing that they got that maybe some of you weren't able to hear, and it might be able to add to your business. We've got a great sector from Rob Daniel regarding some things that he's bringing us. He's a bowl coach. We've got a great commercial panel. So lots of things going on. Before we get started from that standpoint, I wanted to bring to your attention that during November and December, you're going to see about, 3 or 4 options of business planning clinics for you. As far as getting yourself ready for 2021, because we all know during Q4, this is the time we should be setting our goals and putting our plans together for this next year. We're going to have, some of the options are through FES. Some of the options are self-standing workshops. Some of them have a small cost to them, $30 or $40, I think. Some of them are free. It just depends on where it's coming from, yet you'll be able to make a choice depending on who's teaching and who's presenting and where it's going to come from. Here's what I'm going to tell you though. Make sure you're in one of them and doing something. And here's the thing. We're not only putting business plans together for 2021, we're also putting our growth plan together for 2021, because a business plan is, it's just the paper that it's being put on. Otherwise, it just sits in a folder, right? And then it goes into a cabinet or sits in your computer in a drive and nothing's done with it. We want to make sure that you are adding a growth plan attached to your business plan from the standpoint of implementation, so it just doesn't rot. So my point is I want to make sure that you watch for these. Amber, Janine, agent services people in your market centers, they're going to be, Tamara, we're going to be sending this stuff out over the next couple weeks. Just watch for that. I know right now, right off the bat, November 19th, Pat Mancuso is going to be doing one of these events. I know that that's going to be all on Zoom. I know that I think it's December 1st. Jeff Borman is going to be doing one of these events. It'll be in Cocoa Beach with a hybrid Zoom. I know that he's also doing it in Bel Air on December 2nd. And I think James Shaw is going to be doing one of these events as a self-standing event, probably a week later in December. So lots and lots of options for you, because see, here's the thing. If you're reading the news, if you're looking at your email, if you're looking at what's happening, we have to make sure we have a plan for our sector of the industry. When Gary Keller really pushed us into the technology side of things a couple of years ago, he was doing that knowing that Zillow and the like were moving into our world. If you noticed yesterday, Zillow Homes opened their storefront, for lack of better words, within Stellar. So now they exist as a real estate company, right? They have their little salary employees, and that's what they're going to do. Those of you that were in real estate 10, 12 years ago when the boom was happening then, and we saw companies doing things like this, it's starting to happen again because the market's been so strong for so long, and we want to make sure you're well equipped to be able to combat against that. So there's just lots and lots of things happening. I know the first thing we're doing is we're doing a little bit of a mega camp AHA, and I know we've got 7 or 8 panelists that are going to be sharing some stuff with us on here, and certainly chime in and add in and ask questions and whatnot. But I know that Hudson and Jessica and Sandy and Tyler, all of us have some agents on here from our market centers that wanted to share a couple of the key points of things that resonated with them from Mega Camp that they feel they're going to be able to implement in their business right now, not 5 years from now, but right now. So who wants to start? Who wants to start in sharing with some of their key ahas that they got from Mega Camp that they're actually utilizing? Lee, I see your hand.
Start, Howard.
Okay, go for it.
All right, so several things, but a couple of key things that stuck out for me. First was to be the first and the second agent that a prospect speaks with. So I've started implementing that already. So if I'm speaking with a for sale by owner prospect, an expired prospect, anybody who is a prospective client for us, I don't have somebody from my team. I'm not the first and second person to call, but if I don't get the listing on the appointment, the very next call that they're going to get is from our title company, because I've already asked, do you have a closing company where you're going to close this? So they're going to hear from somebody on my team from the title company. They're going to hear from a lender that we work with, somebody from my team that can help them pre-qualify buyers should they be able to move forward and sell the property on themselves by themselves. If it's also somebody who is going to be purchasing a property, the very next call is going to be an inspection company on my team that calls them. So in the first couple of days, they're going to get 4 calls from people who are on my team. So we're going to position ourselves to be that person that when they do decide it's time to list a property, that we've been helpful to them and we've been in contact with them. So that would be the first thing. The second thing that we've already implemented is to have a hyper local Facebook page, Facebook group in one of our farms. So we actually started it and we leveraged it so somebody else is actually running the page, running the group, and we funnel some information to that person about the market, and it's a combination of what's going on in the market, are there properties coming up for sale, but also what's happening in the schools. You know, is there a school schedule change? Things like that to go on. We're going to be doing interviews for restaurants in the neighborhood to be that place that people can go for anything that's real estate related in the community there. And that's adjacent to somebody who already has a Facebook community page. So it's separate and apart. And we're kind of playing together, which is really neat. I reached out to those people saying, you know, we're not competing here, but it's something totally different. And just one other quick thing that harkens back to my days when I had an educational consulting company. I was traveling around the country. In the luxury division, they talked about the fact that it's all about the experience. You know, think Lexus, think like that, and that it's a relational rather than transactional thing that we're doing here. And I thought back to when I was traveling around the country. I would go to model schools around the country and exceptional schools and STEM schools and these places that were really exceptional, giving a great experience to those kids that applied for those schools and were in there. And then the thought is, well, why doesn't everybody get that experience? Why isn't everybody entitled to that? So it's not really just about the luxury division, but everybody that we deal with that deserves that kind of an exceptional experience.
No, I mean, it's a valid point, because remember, we are selling a service more than we're selling a house. The house either sells itself or not. We are selling our service, and I think that's all part of the experience itself. That's great, Lee. Great things. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Who else? Who else has some of the ahas?
I do, Howard.
Go for it, Michelle.
Thanks, Howard. To follow up on Lee with the experience, that was a big aha for me, because I listened to Amber Hart out of Austin, Texas. And granted, she said she had booked a, you know, she's all luxury listings, but she had booked her client a massage. Well, I like that idea, but what I did with a client of mine, you know, she was having a very stressful day packing and she was just over it all. So I sent her, dropped off a bottle of wine, and it just meant so much. It meant the world to her. So keeping it about the experience, I think, is key. But my other big aha was during the script off, Anna Kalinsky was talking about a script that she does, and I thought it was brilliant. She was talking to her seller, and the seller said, her potential seller said, well, my friend just got her license and I'd like to help her out. So she said, well, you know, imagine what that could do to your friendship would be one way to go. But she said something else. She said, well, let me ask you this, if your friend just got, you know, her license as a doctor and you needed surgery, would you help her out and have her perform the surgery, or would you go to a more seasoned doctor? And she's like, well, yeah. Well, this, Miss Seller, is what we call financial surgery. I just think that's brilliant. I loved it. Financial surgery, and I loved it.
Yeah, I use a medical analogy a lot of times, so that's great. That's great. Awesome. Who else from our panel of people that are sharing with us today from Mega Camp?
I've got some.
Please, Hudson, that'd be awesome.
So I had a couple from the Keith Cunningham speech. The first one, honestly, it made me laugh, and it only made me laugh because of how true it was. the key to getting rich or successful is doing less dumb things. Like, have the initial giggle and then go back and think about it. Like, it really is that simple. And then this one was really big for me. He went over that 3 circles exercise that he likes to do with people. And that was, and I'm not going to attempt to draw it right now. That was, you take something that you're good at, something that people want, and something that people will pay for, like in 3 different circles. Where they come together in the middle, that's your sweet spot. That's where you can build an empire, is where those 3 things come together. And then he added in that there's always a little bit of a luck factor, so don't fool yourself. Like, there's definitely little bit of luck. And then consistent execution is where it'll all cinch together. And what I got out of that was that consistent execution. Well, that's us doing our 5 jobs as a real estate agent every single day we work, right? That's the consistency that's so important. So those were 2 from him. Danny Hara said, and I'm gonna say this twice for the people who aren't listening, anything done more than once should have a system. Anything done more than once should have a system. You want a stress-free life? Put a system on everything so you don't have to guess. And then my last, so I have 2 other big ones. 800 million people a day are watching Facebook Live.
Yeah.
800 million a day are watching Facebook Live. And not only does that tell me that you better be utilizing that, also that tells me they want authentic, they want raw, they do not want polished. So those of us that are very afraid of video, I get it, I hear you, I was you, and it's time to just get over it. They want you to mess up. They want you to say the wrong word. They want the camera to move around like this. Like, they want real. They want windows, especially right now with so many people still spending the majority of their time at home. They want a window into somebody's actual world because they're not getting that interaction. And then the last one that I'll share, and then I'm just going to give you something to ponder, is that Stephen Cooley talked about his database and how he said that if you stick with people long enough, meaning that you continue to follow up with them, put them on a 36 touch, do whatever you do, there's a 100% chance that you're getting paid one day. Now, that could be a direct deal from them. That could be a referral from them. It could be a referral out of state because they're not even buying in your area. And yet, if you keep in touch with somebody long enough, eventually you're getting a paycheck out of it because, you know, the tortoise wins the race, right? So the last thing I'm going to leave you with, because I think some of us might need to hear this, is that you can have a lousy hand in poker and still win the hand. 2020 has been a lousy hand for a lot of us, and yet we can still have an awesome year. We can roll into 2021 set up for an awesome year, no matter what happens with the economy, no matter what happens next month. You can still win with a lousy hand. So that's my stuff.
That's great stuff. That's some great stuff that can all be used at a high level. I love the fact that anything that's done more than once needs a system, right? I mean, it's just seems like a lot of these seem like common sense. Yet, are we implementing them or are we using them? And the other thing is, we're such a big company with so many resources. Are we sharing with each other? And are we taking advantage of that? Are we looking at the smart plans that we're all shared? Are there any that we could be using for implementation through command? I mean, things like that. Let's benefit from each other. Great stuff. Who else? I've got Melanie Shoemake on this list, Judy Post, Michael Hughes.
Hey, I'll pipe in.
Okay, go ahead, Judy.
You know, I have a whole notebook full of great stuff, and we're implementing many things, particularly around video, Facebook, YouTube, you know, getting more engaged in those kind of activities. As I believe it was Hudson said, there's what, 900 million people on Facebook or some enormous number. But in
800 million.
800 million. Okay, I wasn't that far off. A lot, big. Anyway, my favorite part of Mega Camp and or family reunion or anything I do is always Gary Keller. I love Gary Keller on stage and talking about the economy. And Gary Keller opened, I can't even talk about this without getting tears in my eyes. I know I'm sappy, but he opened Mega Camp and he said, when you boil away all the external parts of himself, there's 4 things remaining: love, compassion, caring, and giving. That is Gary Keller. And I think that is, just such an important message to everybody about who we are in this company and the message that we want to share. It's all about coming from contribution and really putting our clients and our customers' needs in front of our own. He says love equals time, or what is love? Love is time. So if you want to show your love, you want to show your appreciation, give the people that you want to have in your life your time and your energy, and that, I think that a lot of that outreach touches that. Also loved his economic. I mean, I always love his point on the economy was that just as a big ha-ha for me, and I've repeated it many times to my customers. Gary says, be the economist of choice. And so, I find that when I share his information, and like the same information, Gary, not the same information, but it's the same type of information that Gary Ubaldini gives us every month at the mastermind. But we talk about the unemployment in the, when on the news, they tell us the news says such and such, so much unemployment. And it seems really low. It's like, he said 6%, I believe was the number, didn't he? But that is the national average. And it's like trying to say the average temperature in the United States today is 72. Well, it's 90 today here in Florida. So
Right.
you really have to break it down further to understand what's really happening in the economy. And the truth of the matter is the unemployment's very low in every segment except hospitality and manufacturing. And then when you look at Florida, I mean, I look at my own local economy, we don't have a lot of manufacturing jobs here, right? But what do we have? Hospitality. And that unemployment rate is more like 24%. So it was a big aha for me, and looking at is, who do I really need to reach out to and help? Who are those that, how can we, at the Judy Pope's team, make a difference to the people in the hospitality industry that are really struggling right now through the types of the stimulus programs that we have at Keller Williams.
No, absolutely. And you make a
That's
very,
okay.
really valid point from the standpoint that for you to stand out in your local marketplace, it is important to be the local economist and real estate expert of choice. And then you might be like, well, how can I be that? Well, between Gary Ubaldini's masterminds and between the education classes we have both locally here online or regionally or from KWRI, we have a lot of resources to give you a ton of information, graphs and charts, and I mean all that stuff from Camp they gave us. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that you're able to use when you're, whether it's on a listing presentation, or it could be for like an HOA presentation in your local community, or it could be something at your chamber. I mean, there's just so much stuff that we have as far as resources for you to be able to use that. And people are hungry for that information, especially when we're in a changing economy like we're in right now. So Judy, excellent points. Excellent points. Awesome. Well, listen, I'm going to move on to the next area here. We actually have Rob Daniel with us. Rob is a maths coach, and he's going to be spending some time with us, a little bit of time with us this morning, talking about how to get a listing in a anybody struggling to get listings right now? I would think so, because it's such a tight market, right? So he's going to spend some time with us on that and talk to us a little bit about Bull Pivot that we've got coming up here in just a couple weeks. So Rob, you're with us, right? Okay, I saw
I got to
Rob.
get off mute. I've got to get off mute. Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry about that. How are you doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great, Rob.
Okay. So let me go ahead. Am I ready to go, Howard?
Yeah, it's you right now. It's you.
Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Guys, I just want to let you know I'm up in I've got about 3 weeks left up here in Maine. It is 40 degrees here. So I want to come home. So I'll be home in about 3 weeks. Hey, listen, I wanted to talk to you a minute. I'll talk about Bold at the very end. I hope everybody is very excited about the end of the year. It's getting close. We're getting closer to the end of the year. Just so you know, write this down. We have about 30 days left for 2020. About 30 days. So because anything that's written usually right around the Thanksgiving time will fall into January. And so that's when 2021 will begin. So the exciting thing is, and I'm going to tell you how to get a listing in this hot market that we are in. But the beautiful part about Bold right now in October is that three things: gives you Christmas money, okay? Gives you Christmas money. It's only for 4 weeks, but it's going to be powered packed. Number two, it will finish your year strong. And then number three, it starts 2021 with a bang. And I trust possibly, Howard or anybody on here that would like for me to help you later on with your listings needed formula for 2021. I believe in that formula, and I'm more than willing to share it with you and help you with your listing. So let's get on with what can you do to get a listing right now, okay? Well, whenever I was selling real estate, and that's been quite a few years ago, however, if you've been in Bold before Bold 2.0, if you remember Tony DeCello's flyer, okay, I think we might have forgot about that. That's what gets you a listing or a sale in a hot market. So let me tell you, and whenever I was selling real estate, there was a friend of mine, and he actually made $1 million, $1 million net in what I'm about to tell you. And this was, hate to say this was in the 90s, okay? However, it still works for today. So here's the deal. Most of us, or some of us, have buyers, and many of us have buyers. And again, think the Tony DeCello flyer. This friend of mine took that flyer like that, and he put the name of the buyer, not the last name, just let's say Tim and Jill, is looking for blankety blankety blank. What are they looking for? And did a beautiful, beautiful flyer. Dropped it off in price range that they were looking for. And when I can tell you this now, everybody, I promise you will either, number one, get a sale, because would everybody agree? I can only see about 3 people at a time. I see Andrew, I see Beth, and I see Tamara right now, okay, on my phone. So my question to you three, is the market fairly hot now, right now? Give me a yes, a thumbs up,
I think
or
they're
a thumbs
muted.
down,
Our
or
market
something.
is very hot. Our inventory is the lowest it's been in the history of our MLS.
Beautiful. That's great, Howard. Same thing up here in Maine. It's 20% up this year. So that means that the listing inventory is down. Here's what I would like to say to everybody. Don't think that everyone knows that the market is this hot. Don't think that everyone knows that they could make possibly 10, 20, 30,000 more than what they could, a year or 2 years ago. Don't think everyone knows that. Most people don't keep up with it. And so if you take a flyer of a buyer that you have and say they are looking to buy, they are ready to buy, they are looking for this right here, and you drop it off in a neighborhood that is in that price range, I saw it with my own eyes. And like I said, Tony DeCello could also, attest to this, that you will either sell that house. And by the way, you always put at the bottom, right? This is all confidential. It's an amazing thing. Some people don't want anybody to know that they're selling their house or thinking about selling their house. But you tell people possibly that they're going to make 10, 20, 30,000 more. There's people out there that will sell their house. So if you have a buyer, put that flyer together, go and take it to a neighborhood, drop it off. I'm not saying knock on the door. If you want to knock on the door, go ahead, but drop it off at the neighborhood, send it through the mail, whatever you want to do. However, you will make sure it's confidential, and you will get a sale that way. Now, how do I get a listing? Well, I can promise you this. My friend that sold real estate, and again, if you talk to Tony, in that neighborhood, they averaged getting 3 to 5 listings every time they sent out that flyer. Why? Because the buyer, they let the buyer come over and take a look at the house, but it just wasn't for them. It just wasn't for them. And lo and behold, some of those people that are now with the confidential buyer showing will turn into a listing. They will turn into listings because now they know how much their house is really worth. So only thing I'm saying to you on this is go back sometimes to the basics. Go back to the basics. You can get listings in this market right now. And so I'm gonna wrap this part up right here. I wanted to give you that nugget right there because I think that we are missing a piece of our business right now. COVID gave us a lot of things, unfortunately or fortunately, and the market is steaming hot right now. So it certainly has taken up. Finish this year strong over the next 30 days. I mean, when we start next week, 30 days, just play full on with Bold. Play full on. And I can promise you that you will make business, get business, and get listings. So go back to the basics. People don't know what their house is worth right now. Let them know, but do things, put confidential on there because a lot of people want just a confidential showing, but they will list the house with you. So
Rob, we appreciate that. And also regarding Bold, I always watch out for my agents here, and I'm going to be honest with you. I've had a lot of questions regarding Bold because a lot of these people there's about 120 people online here with us right now. A lot of them took Bold back in May, felt it was more of an infomercial than a Bold experience. There's a lot of our Bold advocates that are on this call who've taken Bold 7, 9, 11, 14, 15 times. And so what is different about this Bold launch we have upcoming versus like the one in May?
Yeah, I appreciate that. And that's a great segue into talking about Bold, Howard. I appreciate that. One of the biggest things that you're going to find different about this Bold, if you enjoyed, first of all, Mega Camp, okay? And I got to tell you, Mega Camp got great reviews. And the biggest thing in Mega Camp, I know Gary Keller always gets great reviews, but was the script off. Because everybody got so many scripts for so many different scenarios. And that is one thing that is going to be different with Bold is that we're going to have a script off with some of the top agents. You there?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Something jumped up on my phone. We're going to have script off with some of the top agents in the nation that are going to be able to give you these type of things, these type of scripts. Number 2, we're bringing back mindset. So, we've kind of done away with mindset over the last couple of Bold pivots. It wasn't as strong, and we realized that, and we heard your voice. So we are bringing back the Bold laws very strong. We're bringing back, the mindset part that we have had with Bold all these years, and most people enjoyed the mindset more than they even enjoyed the practicality of everything. So we're bringing back the mindset. Number 3, we're bringing real heavy. I'll give you an example. Gary told us not too long ago in a meeting. Gary told us that we are one of the only industries that haven't figured out the information age. And so he has this funnel, and I'll be willing to show you this funnel, but here's the thing. He told us in the meeting that we should have 25,000 leads in our funnel if we are going to really make a lot of money in this business now. And I'll take another time, Howard, to show that funnel of how it works from going from leads and by the way, a lead is just a one-way conversation that turns into contacts. So we're going to be talking about that in bold. We're going to be showing you ways of being able to get more leads and more information and more people's data. You know, that's what Gary is all about, is keeping your own data, having your own data. So I want you to think about what I've just said, from getting many scripts that you may not have thought about, to number 2, mindset. Number 3, showing you how to get more data into your command. And then number 4, the biggest thing that we're bringing back in a big way will be the never-ending referrals, concept about bringing and how to go and call and to put the smart plans together for your database. So there's a lot of exciting things. This is all action packed in just 4 weeks, 2 days a week, 2 hours a day. And then here's a bigger one. We have figured out, and again, I don't know that we have it perfected, how to hold you accountable. Okay? I mean, because that's been missing also, is holding you accountable. Now, again, I personally am taking on South Florida as a bowl coach. And so if you look at Rob Daniel and say, Rob, will you hold me accountable, during the bowl time, to my goals of what I say I want to do? The answer is yes. The answer is absolutely yes. I will help hold you accountable to what you say you want to do. Now, how can I do that? On Fridays. On Fridays, we will have a Zoom call, or we'll have a conference call, and we will start talking about what your goals are and how we can hold you accountable. And so those are the things, Howard, that, and the biggest thing is, partnering up with everybody in the South region, especially the leadership, to these great agents that are on here, partnering up for 4 weeks to help you end this year strong and begin next year even stronger. So let's partner up together, join Bold. We do have some, exciting times. It's only $99. It's only $99, okay? And then number 2, if 15 of you come together, I don't know if you heard about this, Howard, if 15 come together and put a group together at 15, it's $1,000. So that's only $67 per person. And if you get one nugget, I hope that I gave you a nugget today about the flyer, and that people don't know what their house is worth right now. It's more than what they think. I hope I gave you that nugget, and we'll give you even more nuggets all throughout Bold. So that's the difference in what maybe Bold Pivot was in May, that people looked and said, I don't know whether I like that. They did like the Coach's Corner. So we're going to have more of Coach's Corner, real live Coach's Corner, where you can ask questions, talk to Bold coaches, and be ready to go. But like I said, mindset is going to be a big deal this time, Howard.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I was on a call with Gary Keller this morning, and what he was teaching us was whoever controls the lead is who controls the industry. So if this is an opportunity for us to get leads where they're harder to come by, this is a place where you want to be. Did anybody have any questions for Rob regarding Bold starting on October 20th, which is next week? Anybody from the group? Anything he didn't cover? Anything that and just so you know, Rob, your connection's kind of weird, but I think we got a majority of what you say. What you said.
Oh man, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but we're hanging on there. Anybody have any questions directly for him? Team leaders, anything that you need to know?
Howard, I've been trying to purchase the black for the leadership, and it's asking for password, and there's no instructions regarding that.
Okay,
hey, Dorota, I can get with you on that after this call.
Perfect.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks, Tamara. Thanks, Dorota. Anybody else?
Yeah, Howard, this is Janet Faulkner. And Rob, if you can pop your contact information up there, I'd love to talk to you after this call.
Okay, that'd be beautiful. Do you have my phone number?
I don't. I'm sure I can. Oh, Tamara just put it up there. So I've got your email. I'll email you and we can schedule a time to connect.
Yeah, let's do that. I would love to.
Great. I'm doing the New England and Florida bounce as well, and it's going to be 39 degrees here, so I feel your pain. And I'll be back in Florida Wednesday. Anyhow, so we'll connect after the meeting.
Yeah, that'd be great. Whatever I can do to help also. Please, let's connect.
Thank you.
Thanks, Janet. Thanks, Janet. Anybody else? Questions for Rob at all that would benefit the group as a whole? We good? Awesome. Well, Rob, thank you so much for spending the time with us. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Anytime, Howard, and just let me know what I can do. And if you want to set anything up with that listings needed formula that really shows people what they need for 2021 with the listings, please let me know.
Absolutely. Sounds good, Rob. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Call me if you need me. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. So moving into our next phase here, I wanted to talk to you guys about commercial. And here's why. Because commercial is something that for some of us, we're really comfortable with it. For some of us, it's something new. For some of us, it's something foreign. And we might think of the fact that we don't think about the possibility of what it could bring to our business. All of us have a database. And in that database, there are people that are connected with people that have commercial needs. And I think when we're lead generating and prospecting, we sometimes forget to leverage that and think about that. So what I did is I asked a group of our commercial agents to be on with us today. Janet Faulkner, Jack Batesell, Gary Kohler, Coach Cook, and Tim Diesel. I asked them to spend some time with us today for a couple reasons. One is this: when I was a residential agent, I'm not a commercial agent. I don't do commercial. I don't know commercial. I know fragments. I've been in the industry 26 and a half years. So I know certain things about it, but I don't try to do commercial real estate. And when I was an agent, I had a person I referred all my commercial business to. He referred his residential business to me. We were good like that, and it was a good thing. I think sometimes we forget about the fact that commercial, like a residential agent attempting a commercial transaction when they're not familiar with the ins and outs of commercial because they don't do it often enough, to me is like a dermatologist trying to act as an oncologist, or an OBGYN trying to act as a you know what I mean? Like you might be a doctor, but you're not the doctor of that specialty. And my whole premise has been, I rather get a portion of a commission, and especially a large commission with a lot of these commercial deals, rather than 0 of 100%, if that makes sense. And I think this is a conversation I wanted to have with us for a long time. So what I wanted to ask our panel is how can a residential agent best leverage the commercial aspect of their database, not feel like they're losing that person from their database, and have a benefit to their residential portfolio, if that makes sense. Who would like to talk? Who would like to go? And the panel group.
I can start, Howard, if you'd like.
Go for it, Tim.
How's everybody? Tim Diesel. So the easiest way that I found is all of your clients do something. They all do something. They go to work, they own a business, whatever it is. The question is real simple. When you ask them what they do and they say they own a restaurant, are they upsizing, downsizing? Do they own a factory? You really got to probe just a little bit. It's not very difficult. And just those small little questions will open a lot of doors where a residential agent isn't really trained to mine for those solutions. And it could be something as, yeah, our lease is almost up, or whatever the case is. And that could be a very easy way to just open that door.
So it's asking questions like we teach in a lot of our needs analysis, right? Gotcha, Tim. Who else? Gary, Jack, Janet?
Yeah, I
I
don't think it takes much. I think Tim's exactly right. I kind of talk about the 2-minute conversation that you can have with somebody. It's exactly what Tim just said, asking questions to open that door up. There's other things there too. I think, we don't look at a residential agent as trying to do commercial because they're not trained in it. They don't have the tools and the systems to make it happen. However, they can use social media to say, hey, we have a trusted partner if you do have commercial needs. So when you guys are setting up your stuff in Command and your smart plans and things like that, you can't necessarily use the KW commercial logo. However, you can say that we have a partner. As you can see on the call here, there's several commercial agents that you can partner up with to be able to make that stuff happen. So you can build plans around it, just like Tim saying, ask those questions on a phone call or in person. You can also build your smart plans around it as well.
Can I
Yeah,
jump on?
go ahead, Janet.
And add to that. So exactly right, what Jack said and what Tim said, and especially right now, as residential agents are out talking with their clients or at a listing appointment, or they're just making follow-up calls, it's so normal and natural to just add into the conversation, how's your business going during COVID? How were you affected? And just open up that conversation, and you'd be amazed. You don't have to necessarily dig for commercial opportunities that you can then earn a referral fee on. But I've had a couple of situations lately where a residential agent overheard someone say, oh yeah, I'm gonna need to be moving my office. That, what a task that's gonna be. And when I got that referral, I didn't know whether it was a 3-person office. It turned out to be a 100-person office. It turned out to be, I put them in 22,000 square feet at $18 a square foot. It was a 6-figure commission. The referral fee on just the listing, on just the tenant side of that, was $15,000. And I just had someone who is only a referring agent. She doesn't even practice real estate. She works in an accounting firm. And one of their clients said, we're outgrowing our manufacturing facility. And she said, call Janet Faulkner. She's, and I'm not, it sounds funny to say this. This is exactly what the guy said to me when he called me. She said, call Janet Faulkner. She's the real deal. She can help you. Well, it turns out that his business is a manufacturing business, and he knew what property he wanted to look at. It's a $6.6 million manufacturing plant that we put an offer, we now have under contract. And I let her know, do you know your referral fee on that deal? Thank you very much for referring. We put it under contract. Your referral fee on that will be roughly $47,000. She was giddy. And by the way, now we have to sell his manufacturing plant, which great, we can do that, about $5.5 million. She'll make another $38,000 on that transaction. So, we always do these business planning, when we're doing our business planning, and you look at, hey, what's my line item for referral income? Those are real dollars. And if you're not making those referrals, then it's just money that you're missing that can be life-changing. Someone can make $80,000 in referrals. That's huge.
No, it's instrumentally strong to know that information. And I think there's 2 things I want to bring up. One is, let me give you an example. My uncle was a physician, and he was in the Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is like a suburb area of Philadelphia, hour outside of Philadelphia. And when he was retiring, he called me. And he's from the physician time when the physician actually owned the practice, right? I know that's novel now. He owned his practice, he owned his building, he owned everything. And so when he called me, he's like, hey, we need to sell the house because they were relocating to Florida. Yay. And we have a whole commercial building we need to sell at the same time. And so I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So I referred him to a residential agent, and then I referred him to a commercial agent. It just kind of triggered something in my brain from the standpoint that when I go through my database, where's the commercial opportunity? Now, commercial people on this panel and commercial people on the call in general, I'm going to be honest with you, and as residential agents, sometimes residential agents fear turning the lead over to the commercial agent, because then they might get either cut out or not know what's going on, or they may not get the client back to them in their database for their other residential needs. So I think that sometimes puts a line or a fear factor involved. And what I think they need to hear from you guys, and maybe from Gary or Coach Cook, somebody hasn't spoken yet, like, how do you handle that element, and how do you make sure that that tie-in stays there with the residential agent, make them feel informed and able to speak intelligent with their client and so forth?
Howard.
Coach Cook here. There's Gary. Gary, go ahead first, then I'll finish.
Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead, Coach.
I just want to jump on Howard. You have to keep in mind also the broker risk that Nikki and Howard and everybody's involved in. And your chapter 475-17 says you must be trained and skilled in the area of expertise. But think of it like a doctor, MD. You have a license to do real estate, residential, or whatever. But if you're a veterinarian, are you trained different than you are if you're a MD? You have so many species of animals that you have to know how to treat them and save their lives. When you do commercial real estate, you are like a veterinarian. You have to know all the different species of buildings, the different types of real estate, and you have to be trained. And Nikki always says, you know, you don't know what you don't know, but you also don't know when something's going to go wrong. And when it does, you're going to be liable, and maybe your E&O will cover it, maybe not. I just wanted to say that we have training to teach you the words. Every week, we have stuff on virtual. We teach you how to use the right words, how to use the right phrases, know the language. It's a different language. And when you say, I think it's okay to sell it as a commercial, or change the zoning, or change the future land use of that property, and 4 years later, you're in a courtroom because it couldn't be changed, and you sell it for something that it's not, it's bad. You can be guaranteed most of the time when you sell a house that they're going to be able to sleep in it. When you sell a medical building to a commercial investor and they can't use it for their medical use, they're coming after us. So just keep that in mind. I tell my guys, there's a bad word, don't use it. The word okay, it's a 2-letter word, and it'll put you down every time. Don't say it's okay. Say, let's check it out.
Well, and this is exactly,
and let's be a conduit. Go ahead, Howard.
This is why we do not hear this, and I know it's being recorded, and I know Nikki's backing this. As residential agents, we are not authorizing you to do commercial real estate unless you've had a conversation with Nikki and or myself, and we have a comfort level that you have a commercial background to do it. Otherwise, you would bring in a KW commercial agent, like all these people are, into the, whether it's a referral or it's a shared transaction, because like to Coach Cook's point, our insurance does not cover when it's a situation where an agent is completely clueless and they act on negligence rather than a problem where they would get sued. So I just want to make that perfectly clear on here so that we're all on the same page. Gary Culler, I think you had something you were going to add?
Yeah, Howard, I just want to talk about this thing about protecting some of the questions that residential agents have about referring stuff over to our side. And most of us have been doing this a very long time. But there's, and I do, this is one of the things I like about being in our office and Keller Williams is the integrity level that we have. For whatever reason, in the last 2 years, I paid out referrals that were given to me 5 and 7 years ago. And it was no lack, it was a lot of issues with the property that took that long to get it sold. But actually, when I sent checks to the people, they had actually forgotten about the referral. And I've got multiple agents outside of our company that refers things to me, only because from over the years, we've done things together. So to put everyone at ease, I think most of us on this side of the fence, the commercial side, we really don't want to do residential. I mean, we don't want to take your business, but we do. And as it was being stated earlier, I know for a fact that I paid out a lot of money this year in referral fees just inside our office. So don't leave the money laying on the ground. Take those referrals and give them out to any of us that are in the business here, because you will benefit from it.
Amen.
I got something to say, Howard, if you can.
Go ahead, go right ahead.
This is Dan. I'm in Goldside office, Dan Lee. we don't, I mean, we always return anything that's residential back to the agent. That's a guaranteed. I don't know any agent in Keller Williams that doesn't do that. We pay a lot of referral fees as well. We have clients from outside Keller Williams that refer to us. One thing, so put your mind at ease about us taking residential. We always give it back. One thing that I do want to say is I think in referral world, I don't think a lot of people, a lot of residential agents understand what they have in their database. If you have anyone in your database that's a professional person, doctor, they own their business, I don't care what it is, those people are investing. I can promise you, I can guarantee you, those people are all investing, whether it's in the stock market, whatever they're doing, they're investing. So don't be afraid to ask simple questions. How's your portfolio going? There's only 3 answers, and they're all easily explainable. I mean, you can, tell them like Jack said, I'm partnered up with whoever it is, me, one of the agents. We work directly with them, and let me set an appointment up for you, and let's see what we can do. And I've had several. Lori, what's Lori's last name? What is it? Santora, yeah. I'm closing up a deal here in a month, and her check is $38,000, a referral check. Those are more checks than most residential agents make in a year's time. So here's the biggest problem. I've been at Keller Williams now for about 7 years. One of the biggest things that I've seen is with referrals is about 90% of the referrals, maybe not that, 75% of the referrals we get are what I call junk referrals. They're referrals that no one knows what they want. No one's vetted anything. So the more that you can hook up with an agent ahead of time and work with one of the commercial agents, they can help you and have your referrals be much more successful by getting just a little bit of information like you would as a house. You want to know the guy who has the money to buy the house. You want to know the guy who can come to the closing table or gal. Same thing in our business. We need to know that they can come to the table. A commercial listing, for example, I have several commercial listings, and I'm not taking my listing off the market unless somebody shows me proof of funds, shows me ability to finance, gives me a history of what they're doing. Banks are tough to deal with. I have probably 10 or 12, maybe even more that I deal with, and I know their questions. I prepare for performance that I know the bank wants to see.
So Dan, I appreciate it. That's all. It's all valuable information. I appreciate all of that. I know we have very little time left. There's a couple questions here. Tyler, do you have a question about commercial leases? Did you want to ask that of a couple of these guys?
Yeah, all I was going to say was, what about commercial leases? Are there any benefits to those being referred out to a commercial agent instead of just a residential agent doing a commercial lease?
Janet, Jack?
It's totally different. Right. Commercial leases are totally different than residential leases.
Commercial.
Yeah, all of that, commercial anything should get referred over. So you have tenant representation, somebody looking for to lease a place, just like what you just asked. You have landlord representation, so if somebody owns a building and they need to lease out the place, and then you just have your buyer and sellers as well.
Yeah, and
anything to do with commercial.
Well, I was going to say, and I think in residential world, we think a lease is like, a lease, like we want to sell a house. In commercial world, leases are very prevalent, way more than in residential world. So just something to keep in mind with that.
Yeah, Howard, one thing to make clear is that when people are coming in and doing commercial real estate and they haven't done it before, you may not get paid. You're not protected with MLS rules if it's not in the MLS, and most of the commercial deals are not out there. So it's very, very important that you don't get all the way toward closing on a deal, whether it's a lease or a sale, and find out that, hey, guess what? You don't have a fee agreement, so you're out.
Yeah, totally different from that standpoint. You're exactly right. So listen, first of all, commercial people, thank you so much for your contribution. It's really helped. I know we've got a lot more to discuss on this, and we'll bring it up in some future town halls and team leaders. I encourage you to bring this up in your actual individual team meetings in your market centers. So remember that. The other thing is all of your commercial agents in your market centers are identified on your rosters. So, if you want to connect with them, I'm sure they're happy to have a conversation with you as you want to bring leads to them and have a conversation. I always found it in my sales business great to get a commercial agent that I can kind of have on my team as my partner. And then that way I already have a rapport to them, they have a rapport to me, and it's kind of like an open door with them. That's something that helped me a lot. And it's up to you, but that's your thing. And then last but not least, make sure as you refer commercial business out, there, like they've brought up, there's industrial, there's retail, there's medical, commercial even in itself has a lot of sectors to it. It's not just commercial or residential. There's all kinds of specialties within that. So you want to make sure that the commercial agent you're referring to has seasoned experience in those particular areas. So I appreciate it, commercial people. Thank you so much. So just letting you know, we were originally going to have our town hall in November on the 19th. That is now going to be a business planning opportunity for you, a business planning clinic. That's going to be with Pat Mancuso. We will get more detailed information. Actually, Tamara put that on there. If you want to register for that, you certainly can. Like I said, that's going to be one of 4 or 5 opportunities for business planning, which I can't stress the importance of that enough, because as we plan for 2021, which is going to be a great year, we want to make sure that we've got it structured, organized, and we're there for you. I appreciate everybody spending the time with us today. I hope today was of value to you. Thank you so much, those of you who participated and that were here, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.